I just told you who I thought I was. A god.
What is going on, y'all? Back here again with your episode 3 review for Kanye West's trilogy, Jeen-Yuhs. And man, I had to start off with this song right here, and it ages very well. Definitely, after you look at this part 3, and you definitely can't tell Kanye nothing. You still can't tell him nothing, but with that being said, I think this is probably my least favorite. You know, we had to get to the death of his mother and how that affected him, from him spiraling out to, you know, becoming saved with the Sunday service. Is, you know, was that a ploy? That's still left to be debated. I'm gonna talk about that, what I feel. Also, you got the whole the Trump thing, him wearing the MAGA hat, going back and forth, reneging on that, and him running for president. And yeah, but all that stuff, you know, it's not a pleasant sight to look at, but you know, we had to get to this part, you know, of the Kanye West trilogy here. So let's go ahead and get into things here. So I'm gonna start off with, you know, the main takeaway I saw with this part three here, and that was basically the distancing of Kanye and Cudi, who is basically, you know, the creator of this documentary, and them kind of breaking up, then getting back together, breaking up and getting back together in this, because, you know, Kanye is hitting, you know, superstardom. His popularity is growing, and with that, you know, he's changing. And one of the things that tripped me out was I think they had the Grammy party or something like that, and I guess after the Grammy show, so Cudi was trying to recreate the Channel Zero. Then Kanye West comes in, and then I forgot what he called him. He kept calling him the wrong name. And you can just see it in Cootie's face, like, man, you called me by that name one more time. So that felt awkward as hell. But that was probably the first thing. That was the second thing that stuck out to me. The first thing that stuck out to me was that conversation between Kanye West and Rhymefest about who can define you as a genius. So Kanye was on the side of, you know, I can call myself a genius, and Rhymefest was on the side of, it's up to the person to call you a genius. So I don't know. I gotta rock with Rhymefest on this one, man. You can't just go around calling yourself a genius. You know what I'm saying? Now, if your stuff is truly good, I guess. But at the same time, we know that Kanye got that, as far as being overconfident or just knowing yourself, you know, there's a balance between that and just pure arrogance. So Kanye walks that fine line, but you know, we know that Donda helped him shape that mindset, so to say. To get the comments popping, I just want to know y'all thoughts on that situation right there. Is a genius self-made or self-proclaimed, or should a genius be imposed on by your peers or another party? So y'all answer that for me down in the comments. What y'all think about that conversation? All right, so let's continue with the further distancing with Cudi and Kanye. And there was a part in this documentary where Cudi was saying Kanye was acting, or, you know, he wasn't ready for the world to see, you know, the real Kanye. He's putting on the act. I got to act for the cameras. And, you know, there were certain parts in this video where Kanye was like, you know, put the camera away. I don't want you filming me, or something like that. As opposed to when this thing first started out, is like, you know, I always want the camera on me. This is my guy Cudi. He's shooting this, you know, wherever he went. And in this part 3, you know, he was like, let's put that away. Let's not put that on camera. This, that, and the third. Because, you know, he's, I guess, fighting between showing the real Kanye, so to say, and what the media sees. So did Kanye feel that pressure to put on for the media? Is it an act? All that good stuff. So you can think about that as a question as well. So we get that, but in all this, Cootie has a baby now, so he has that to worry about. So not only do you have Kanye kind of pushing him away, but he also has his own family to worry about now. So he's dealing with that in, between this documentary here. And what brings them back together is, of course, the death of Donda here. And you kind of see some clips of her being I guess you say, a momager in this series, as opposed to, part one and part two. We saw the motherly giving advice, Donda. And in here we saw her, on her business tip. She's being a manager and, managing Kanye's affairs and things like that. So she was always in his life, whether it was from a motherly perspective or a business perspective. So, it was cool kind of seeing both sides of her. But of course, they mentioned the incident where she, passed away during, plastic surgery or whatever. And then that's where we get the spiraling and the losing control, that we kind of see now with what's going on with Kanye or whatnot. And of course, throughout this series, they played Kanye's greatest hits, so to say, from the award ceremony interruptions, Taylor Swift, I'm a genius, Houseway, how, all that stuff like that. So yeah, we saw all those clips, and then the Kim Kardashian, the divorce with that, and him spazzing out at his tours, breaking out into these random monologues and just abruptly stopping his shows, things like that. So it was kind of hard to see that stuff. Definitely if you're, I guess if you're a Kanye fan, if you're rocking with the old Kanye, so to say. All right, so with the death of his mother and all these events going on, and then you got the, at this point, you got the Pablo tour going on, which is another album I enjoyed. But in the midst of all that, you have Kanye and this mental breakdown going on as well. And that, forces Cudi and Kanye to kind of reunite once again. And at this point of the documentary, you have Kanye and I guess sort of his transition as far as his music, starting with the Sunday service. So with Sunday service, let me go to, was it Jesus King? I enjoyed that album, man. And then you had the question of, is Kanye doing this for cloud, or, is he really about this Jesus life? Well, you already had Kanye, you had drips and drops of it with Jesus Walks, and even with Pablo, there was some Christian themes going on in that as well. What's the I cannot remember. It was ultraviolet rays, ultraviolet light, or something like that. That first song is like the first or second song that comes on there, with Chance the Rapper. So you had tracks like that kind of building up to this already. Anyways, it's just he turned it up to 10 with the Sunday service. But I don't think it was necessarily a ploy. I think this is kind of something that somewhat balanced him, between him losing his mother, his mental breakdown, taking, the medication to keep him calm or something like that, he said. And then there was this conversation that they were showing Kanye having with his real estate partners. And I don't know if he was on one, but that man, he was just talking. I couldn't even tell you what the conversation about. It just got like weird. And then Cudi was like, man, I can't film this no more. So he turned the camera off. So those were pretty much my main takeaways from this documentary. And as it wraps up, It flashes back to that scene with Kanye and his mother, and she's talking about this analogy of a giant, and the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing, and how she thinks that means, you know, you can be standing on ground but be in the air at the same time, while everybody else sees you as this giant, but you yourself, even though you are, you know, to other people, you're big, you're this massive success, but at the same time, I guess in my opinion, I think it means be humble, but at the same time, like with the overconfidence talk I talked about earlier in the video, you can be overconfident, but at the same time, just realize, you know, to keep your feet on the ground, be humble, but at the same time, don't play yourself short. You know, if you know you have the talent, um, you know, pretend like you have the talent. You know, if you know you're a success, if you know you have the skill set, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, remain humble, if that makes sense. But as the documentary wraps up, we fast forward to, I guess, like a clip of one of his Donda shows, and show him like lifting it up to the air like he's going to heaven or something like that. So I thought from a, I guess, a cinematography perspective, I guess it ended okay, and then you had Cootie kind of doing this prayer to God or something like that, and that's pretty much where the documentary ends. So I guess they ended it on a it was kind of sweet but somber at the same time. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this documentary review. So just my last remarks here. I do think it was a solid documentary, and you had this, the making of this was just massive, because you had to go from, you know, the beginning of, you know, his production career, I guess you could say, all the way to Donda, which was last year or 2 years ago or something like that. So there is a big time frame in the making of this. So gathering all those clips and just the editing had to be monstrous to make this thing. So I got to give it to Cootie, and he's a real trooper for staying in there. That's the main takeaway I got away from this: Kanye and Cootie's relationship. From Kanye doing him dirty at those awards, calling him different names, the wrong name or whatever, and them just kind of going off and, you know, breaking up, coming back together, breaking up, coming back together. So there has to be some strong bond right there for him to complete this documentary. I thought part 3 kind of saddened me just a little bit. It was a little depressing somewhat, but just overall, I thought this was a good project, and I give kudos to Cootie for making this. I thought it was a good doc. But anyway, y'all give me y'all thoughts down below. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here.